Hey guys, Aaron Dorr here with Wyoming Gun Owners. I've got a great news, bad news situation to convey to every gun owner here in Wyoming. I'm going to tell you right now, this will be the most important video you get from WYGO this year. So please take a moment, watch the entire video, and then take immediate action. First, let's get to the good news. We're very happy to announce that WYGO's bill to fix the Second Amendment Preservation Act has been filed in both chambers. In the House, it's HB 283. In the Senate, we're still waiting for a bill number. We're going to have that very soon, but it's been filed in that chamber as well. We're even more proud to announce the type of lawmakers who are helping us push this legislation. In the Senate, the lead sponsor is Senate Vice President Tim Salazar, but we have great co-sponsors too. We've got Senate President Bo Beitman. We've got Tim French. We've got Bob Ide. We've got Dan Larson. We got Troy McEwen. We got Darren Smith. It is a who's who list of relentless champions in the fight for gun rights. In the House, the lead sponsor is Representative Bob Wharf. Now, if you know Bob, you know this guy has been there and done that in the fight for gun rights. As an activist, as a lobbyist, and now as a state rep, Bob is also a relentless champion for the Second Amendment. We're very proud to announce each and every one of these names. As you're listening to this video, though, each of those names I just mentioned are under attack from a lobbyist with Gun Owners of America. You heard me correct. I didn't misspeak. You didn't hear me wrong. GOA's Mark Jones is attacking each of the names I mentioned above. I'm going to get to that in a few moments. First, I'm going to recap what this bill is and why we have to have it so bad. SAPA is very simple. SAPA's very simple. It told Joe Biden, this is a sovereign state. We have our own state constitution that protects gun rights. We have our own legislature that passes laws to protect gun rights. We have our own law enforcement that is sworn to protect gun rights. It's all funded by taxpayers from our own state. Wyoming is not a vassal of the federal government. And so what SAPA told Joe Biden when he was in the White House is that if you pass federal gun control, or when you sign executive orders attacking our gun rights, you better send your own men to enforce it. Because SAPA said that state cops in Wyoming could not help the feds do it. SAPA said that our cops will enforce the laws of the state of Wyoming when it comes to firearms, ammo, and accessories. We also knew when we drafted the law that we had to have penalties in there because, let's face it, we've got some bluish counties in our state. And if we don't have penalties in there, these areas would be very inclined to just simply ignore SAPA law and enforce whatever Joe Biden told them to enforce. So in SAPA, we put civil penalties that would allow gun owners to take those departments into civil court for damages if they broke SAPA law. Now, in 2022, when that bill was filed, it was moving very quick. And we had high hopes for that bill. And what happened is that Gun Owners of America, who to our knowledge had never been active in Cheyenne ever before, sent a brand new lobbyist who was not from Wyoming into the state capitol. His name is Mark Jones. And Mark Jones got Mark Gordon and got every rhino in the building to agree to run a parallel version of SAPA that was designed to protect not gun owners, but to protect politicians. And here's what they did. They used the exact same name that we had in SAPA, and they used a bunch of the same language, but they took out the parts that really matter. Number one, they removed the civil penalties out of SAPA law. Without penalties, the law was impotent. Without penalties, it sounds great. It has no actual force of law. They pulled out the civil penalties. Instead, they inserted criminal penalties. Now, on the first blush, that might sound great. Criminal penalties, tough stuff, right? But as President Trump said, sounds great, doesn't work. And here's why. And we already all know this. This is a small state. We're a rural state. And the idea that a county prosecutor in Wyoming is going to bring criminal charges against the sheriff, against the police chief, against the police department, it's laughable. And we all know it would never actually happen. So like I said, like Trump said, sounds great, doesn't work. And everyone knew that. Everyone knew that criminal charges would never be filed. That's why the Sheriff's Association signed off on fake SAPA and why they opposed ours. The other thing that GOA and Mark Gordon did in 2022 was they removed the language that stopped our local law enforcement from being used in federal task force work. What often happens is you have a new federal ordinance when it comes to guns. ATF sends an agent up from Denver, and they grab 2 or 3 troopers here and 2 or 3 deputies over there and a couple city cops over here. And all of a sudden, they got 10, 15, 20 members of law enforcement. They're deputized as temporary ATF, and they are then empowered to enforce federal gun control. That's not good. If that happens, then we're wide open for abuse here in Wyoming, and our own law enforcement can be a part of that. Both of those sections were removed from fake SAPA in 2022. So it protected politicians, and it did a good job doing that. It never protected us. It never protected gun owners. So our bill this session, HB 283, and the bill in the Senate plugs all of those gaps. Our bill also takes into consideration what's happened in other states who passed SAPA and have spent years over this issue in court. For example, in Missouri, they passed SAPA in 2021. Their bill was struck down in the courts. WYGO's legal team has reviewed all of that documentation, and our bill has been rewritten and designed to survive that scrutiny from the courts. It is the best bill that we can possibly file this session. And it's the most important bill because, WYGO's already done constitutional carry. With your help, we've already done stand your ground law. With your help, we've banned red flag gun seizures. All the things that we need for everyday life here in Wyoming, we've already been there and we've done that. What we don't have, though, is protections against the next Democrat in the White House. Trump is in for 4 more years. We may have a Democrat just over 4 years from now, or maybe it's 8 years, or maybe it's 12 years. We don't know. But Trump is in and only for 4 more years. And the next Democrat will make Joe Biden look like a moderate. Now is the time to secure freedom, not just for today, but the next generation. And that's what SAPA is all about. And frankly, with a friendly DOJ in power right now is the best time because we're not going to have to worry about being sued by the Department of Justice once we get this done. Guys, this is an exciting time. Trump calls this the golden age of freedom. Gosh, we agree with that statement here at WYGO. It's all good. It's going great. But again, the problem we have here, getting back to it now, is Gun Owners of America's lobbyist, Mark Jones, is doing everything he can to attack these lawmakers and kill this bill. This weekend, right now, he is texting all these lawmakers. He is threatening them. He is promising to lower their grades, take away their endorsements, and to expose them in the media. Now, I want to be clear. This is the same Mark Jones who jumped into bed with the rhinos in 2022. It's the same Mark Jones who ruined SAPA the last time. It's the same Mark Jones who, let's just be honest, is angry because WYGO members did not elect him when he ran for the House last year in the primary. That's the problem. We have an angry lobbyist who is not from our state doing everything he can to shut down this bill. Here's where we need help from you. Number 1, contact Gun Owners of America. I need every single person watching this to pick up the phone or go to Twitter or however you want to do it, contact GOA and tell them that their lobbyist here in Wyoming is totally deranged, that he is attacking the best members of our legislature when it comes to gun rights, that he's destroying GOA's reputation here in Cheyenne, and he's endangering a bill that is badly needed here in our state. I don't know if GOA has any idea what their lobbyist is doing. They have to hear from you right away. Number 2, these lawmakers who are fighting so hard for us, they got to hear from you. They got to hear how much you appreciate what they're doing. So go on Twitter, go on Facebook, or call them and let them know you appreciate their efforts on our behalf. Contact Bo Beitman, Tim Salazar, Bob Ide, Dan Larson, Troy McEwen, Darren Smith, Tim Salazar, Bob Worf, all these guys, and thank them for standing up and leading in the fight for gun rights. Number 3, and we're almost done, tell your senator and tell your rep to co-sponsor, support, and vote for this legislation as well. And finally, guys, share this video everywhere on social media. We're going to have this on Twitter. We're going to have it on YouTube, and we're going to have it on Facebook. Wherever you're watching this, retweet it, tag your friends, put it on your own Facebook page, whatever you can do to help us get the word out. This is the time for all of us to come together and pass the most impactful gun rights legislation of our time. This will secure freedom, not just for 2025, but for decades to come. When the next Democrat gets in the White House and he finds out that Wyoming has SAPA in place, he's going to seethe with rage, but he won't have anything he can do about it. That is our goal. Help us get this done. Take action right away, and we'll keep you guys informed.